The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed.
Welcome guys, this is Ola from Stop Me All channel, back with another Patreon podcast. This is Tape 1 Side B. As I said before, I'm not really certain about the final shape or form of that podcast. Like, I'm still experimenting. I'm not really certain what it's going to be eventually. So this time I'm trying out something else. That last part, that was like purely written down. I had it all scripted and ready. It felt like it would be easier for me to just read it. And honestly, I've been doing the same thing with Life is Strange videos, the ones that I've recorded lately for Life is Strange 2 mostly. I've been sort of scripting them. I've been writing down things that I want to say. I've never been doing this with my previous Life is Strange videos. Like, usually I would just sit down and talk about whatever came to my mind. Well, sometimes it felt like I perhaps did not express myself properly enough for you guys to get what I'm trying to say. I sometimes felt like I let myself down, that I didn't express myself properly. That's why I started to write it all down. But lately it also felt like, I don't know, I guess if it's too scripted, then it loses its spirit as well. As much as I'd love to be organized, and it works for me, editing's faster and all that, I sometimes feel like the best things that you say are the things that can come to your mind while you're talking about them. So this is what I'm trying out with this side B of tape 1. I'm just gonna talk. I'm not even sure where it's going to head me. I just have the general idea of what I want to discuss. And it's actually something that's kind of related to Life is Strange. Kind of. Now, I'm sure you remember the farewell episode of Life is Strange. The farewell episode showed us young Max and Chloe. The way they were like playing around, what they were doing, how they treated each other, and just generally how it was. And it felt so familiar to me. It felt like something that I remember from my own childhood. I had a friend like that. We had the exact same relationship as Max and Chloe did when they were young. And I should also stress this out, like when they were young, not when they were older. It was just a friend and that's it. Well, that's it. That's not really it. That was plenty. At the time it was everything, you know? I don't know if you've seen the movie Stand By Me. It's actually a novel by Stephen King, Stand By Me. It was about those 4 kids, young boys, that went on an adventure together. Actually, Life is Strange 2 is loosely based on it as well. So these 4 boys, they were just wandering through the woods looking for a dead body that they knew that's out there somewhere. 2 of them, they were exactly like that. They were best friends. And the story was told from a perspective of this older man, one of these 2 boys, only when he's a grown-up. And he's sort of remembering what it was like being friends with that other boy when they were both still innocent. And he said that one sentence, he said that I never had any friends like that, like when I was 10 years old. And Jesus, does anyone? I guess that's the point. What I'm trying to say is, even though that person is no longer in my life, she was the best friend that anyone could hope for. The thing is, it only worked back then. It wouldn't work today. We're different people. We're still in touch, but rarely. And I think it's kind of sad. When we were like 10, when we were 7, because this is when we were best friends, until I guess we were around 15, 17, because she's 2 years older than me. We were doing everything together. I think you need some kind of a backstory. Like, I come from the city and she comes from this small village right next to the city where I used to spend my weekends and holidays. We really had the best condition for childhood fun anyone could hope for. You know, lots of woods, fields, rivers, lakes. It was all there. And just the 2 of us. 2 houses right next to each other. We were doing everything together, and it was amazing. It was the best thing ever. I don't know if you have the same memories of your childhood, that you feel very nostalgic about it, very sentimental. I'm not sure if I'm adding meaning to it. Maybe there's no meaning behind it. Maybe it's the way it is. Like, everyone treats their childhood as something special, providing it was okay. But I feel like what we had was very special. Like, we used to do sleepovers, 1 week at my house, 1 week at her house. We had all these really advanced ways of playing around. Really advanced ones. For example, we named each single tree around. We gave a name to all the trees in the area. Except for the woods, like that would be excessive. I mean, that's lots of trees. But like, just single trees standing around. They had a name, and they were like this dynasty. So there was a prince, a princess, a king, and a queen. We were, figuring out what happened to them. We were also playing around, pretending to be birds or pretending to be mermaids. Pretty much like Max and Chloe did. So when I played Farewell, it really, really, really reminded me of myself and the person who used to be my best friend. The thing is, it doesn't always have to work when you grow up. I don't think you expect a lot from people when you're just a kid. I don't think you have any expectations, like you're not paying attention to lots of things that would normally differ you. She came from a different type of a family than I did. Her family came from that small village, and they were like deeply Catholic. And my family was never really Catholic. We were always more liberal, and her parents, they were very conservative. I think eventually this is what broke us apart. She was always pretending to be liberal, I suppose, but I don't think she is. I think her views are very, very far from what my views would be. And of course you can be friends with people that don't share the same, views as you, but you can't really be best friends. You can't. And we never really had a fight or anything. It's just that we slowly went our separate ways. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's lots of people that I considered friends when I was 10 or 15, but when we grew up, we just went our separate ways, and I think that's okay. I think this is what I admire in kids, really. They don't really see things in other people that would bother them. Like how young kids cannot really be racist, because it's something that comes with age, I suppose. That's something that you can learn out on the streets and stuff like that. You don't really see racist kids. This is something that would come from their parents or other people that influence them. The best time in your life, really, for friendship is when you're 10 years old and you don't expect anything from other people. You just want to have fun. And this is what it was. Like, we had fun 24 hours per day, like each day, for 2 months during holidays and each weekend. There's so many stories that I could tell you, like when we were sleeping in a tent, when her older brother would scare us, when we were like sleeping at my place and he would come over and scare us using this creepy mask. All these stories that you really expect, I suppose, from 2 kids. And I think in a way I never had a friend like that ever again later on in my life. And even when I remember my other friends from that time, it was nowhere near that special. Even though we went our separate ways, I really feel grateful that she was in my life, that I had a friend like that. I think she was very creative in the way that we were having fun. She was making up all these stories. She made it feel so exciting. That's why it really felt like that when I was playing Farewell. Like, this is exactly the type of a friendship that we had. Well, except for the fact that clearly Chloe was already in love with Max in Farewell episode. I mean, really, play it again if you don't agree. Play it again. That was never there with me and my friend. None of that, not for a single second. The thing is, as I mentioned before, she comes from this very conservative family. when she was getting married, I think I'm about to tell you something personal that I did not expect to actually share, but okay, so this is where it's going. I probably should have seen that coming. When she was getting married, I was invited to that wedding. I mean, after all, we still knew each other for such a long time. Of course, I was invited. What happened was I got the invitation and I got a +1. So I was going to go there with my girlfriend. That happened like, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. We were meant to go there together, and this is exactly when my parents got this anonymous letter. I think it said something like, you have to watch out for your kid because she has a girlfriend or something like that. I don't even remember. I never actually saw that letter. There was that one time when something of that kind happened to me or my family. Just that one situation. We all had our suspicions when it comes to who actually sent that letter, and it was most probably my friend's parents, because they were that type of people, you know, very, very right-wing, very far from being open-minded. I don't think we can even discuss being liberal or open-minded. We're just talking about people who are filled with hatred, I think. So this is what they did. We pretty much were certain that they sent this so I don't come to that wedding with my girlfriend. This is why they sent that letter. And you know, they succeeded. I just went there, but I just went to the ceremony. I skipped the big wedding, you know, 300 people type of a wedding, made that way probably just to show off in that small village, in front of that small village. And I did not really talk to her about that. I don't even know if she knew about that letter, if it was just the parents that sent it, but we knew that it was them. I guess this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. When I was 10 or 12 or 13 or 14, I never knew that that type of people exists, you know? I never treated her as someone like that. Deep down inside, maybe she was always like that, except that we didn't really pay attention to this because we were 10 and all we cared about was having some fun. And we had a lot of fun. As I said, I think my childhood was magical thanks to her, thanks to the way we had fun, thanks to the things that we were imagining, that I believed at the time. I believed in those things. It was something very strong and beautiful, and I will be always grateful for having had a friend like that back then. But I don't think we could be friends today. We can pretend, we can be polite, we can go and have a coffee or even a beer or meet, but it will never be as pure as it was back then. It's just not possible anymore. Not after what happened. And it's not just that one thing. Like, don't think that I'm being small over one thing, even though it was a cruel thing. It's not about that. It feels good that I am able to share this, and I know that only limited number of people will get to hear this. Kind of feels like I'm venting out about it, but I wouldn't want to share this publicly on my channel. I don't know if she's checking my channel out. She knows that I have that channel, but I don't think she cares. I wouldn't want to post that for everyone to hear. So I'm just sharing this with you guys. It's just a story about my childhood best friend and how that friendship went away. And don't get me wrong, it didn't go away that day when my parents received that letter. That's not when it went away. Maybe it wasn't even there at all. Not in a true way of friendship, not in a, you know, the real way. I just think that as friends we never had a chance, coming from very different environments. I think she's doing well. She's doing well, like she has a husband and 2 kids and she lives in Warsaw, so the capital of Poland, which is a, you know, a great city. And I'm doing well as well, but we're doing well separately. Yeah, I sometimes feel sad about that, I suppose, because I get very nostalgic about things. I'm very sentimental, and you know, if I could just spend one more day during those hot summer days back in the 90s when we were both like 10 or 12 years old, running around. Not a problem in the entire world, you know, not a care. I think we all want that sometimes, but I don't think I would be that sentimental if it wasn't for her and the way we had fun. Yeah, I suppose this is what I wanted to share. I'm sort of surprised that I told you about the letter. See, this is why I did not script that, because I felt like I have to talk about it more freely. And as I was telling you about what that friendship looked like, I realized that I have to mention the letter. It's not what really broke us apart. Like, as I said, we were already strangers pretty much around that time of that wedding. So we just went our separate ways. But I think that letter is a very good example of why that happened. I think that's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I didn't sound all too whiny. But it felt like something that's been on my mind lately, and like something that I really wanted to share with you guys. Just to be honest and just to be a bit more personal. There are other issues on my mind as well that I'd like to discuss, but do let me know if you enjoyed these podcasts and if you prefer me to script those or to actually not script those. I think personally I like this one more. It felt like I'm being more honest with you, and I'm really letting you in. This was Patreon podcast, Tape 1, Side B. Stay safe, patrons, and thank you again.